Alright everyone, we have a bunch of more information regarding the new triggers that I just showed you guys yesterday, and we also have a bunch of news about the release date. Not really specifically when it's gonna come out, but we do have something that is related to the release date. Let's just put it that way. And today I actually want to go over this thing with the release date. I also want to go over a bunch of triggers because I saw some of you guys actually had some awesome ideas about how certain triggers work or what their purpose is gonna be. And yeah, we got a bunch of more things to talk about in the video that RobTop sent that I have missed in the last episode of news and analyzing. And I also want to talk, there was one more thing. Yeah, there's also this dude, this Spanish dude, he found a lot of interesting stuff actually. This is something, I think this, okay, let's just start off with this trigger. This trigger, I think I just saw it in my previous video and I had no clue what it does, but Andy found that RobTop has actually talked about this before. And what do you know? This is the only trigger that I'm not sure about so far. This trigger is kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. So let's first see what it actually does. RobTop said in 2023, in mid-2023, I would want to add both persistent items between attempts, but also between levels. So you could have an item collected in level A that has an effect in level B. I think this trigger is very useful for the tower or the 4 platformer levels that RobTop is gonna make. However, we are also gonna be able to use this trigger, and I think with that comes a lot of consequences, like I'm not gonna lie. Like for example, right now, if you build a level or if you just play a level, that level is basically all there is. But now things are gonna be a little bit messed up because now you can like control certain things from different levels, which I am not quite sure if this is a good idea for Geometry Dash or not. I mean, some people could use this like amazingly. For example, you can like have 3 levels for platformer mode, and the last level has a boss fight on it with an HP bar, and in the first level, if you do something, then his HP bar already decrease. So once you reach him in the 3rd level, he would have lower HP due to what you did in level A. However, is that gonna be saved on our save files? Because what if we beat level 1, quit the game, and then reopen it? This is kind of confusing to me because I think coding something like this is not even that easy. And seeing this in mid-2023, he was not even done with it yet. But here it is, it's actually here. So the reason why this could be really bad, because right now, for example, we can take a look at EVW's Impossible series. And sometimes he plays a level and there are a lot of secrets to it and a lot of really sneaky ways. So we would have to go into the editor and see what are the secret ways. But in 2.2, you're gonna have to go to all the creators levels to see if this trigger exists and if it does something with the level that you were playing before. This is kind of confusing, I'm not gonna lie, and it could also mess up a lot of things. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was maybe like limited to only work with the platformer levels of RobTop. For example, just like the secret coin, I think something like this would be good for now at least. Maybe we can see what the community really thinks about this for like 2.21, and then we could decide whether we really want this or not, because I think this is gonna have a huge impact on the game. Like people could troll with this and like, you know, imagine for like 3 coins in a daily level that can only be collected if you go on to the creators level and beat like VSC copy. And if you beat it, then you can collect the coins in that daily level. I think that would be a very horrible idea. So yeah, this is the only this is the only thing that has been added so far where I'm like, nah, I don't really know, to be honest. Beat the top 10 demons to unlock the hardest demon ever. That's an amazing idea, but also a terrible one. This is, oh my god, people are gonna make so much weird stuff with it. Like, I don't know, how is this gonna like save on the server, save on your local? We have so many questions that are not answered. But yeah, another thing we have is the update on the Steam, what is it called? The beta. Yes, yesterday the beta has been updated again, and this can give us a lot of information about the release date. But firstly, let me know what you think about this thing in the comment section. If you have a comment in mind, just write it down in the comments. And now we're gonna move on to the beta update and what that really means for the current situation that RobTop is in. So as we know, people are very mad at RobTop because they're like, why did it take you 7 years to build Dash? But if you really think about it, he cannot build Dash, the official main level, unless he has all of the features of 2.2, which were developed throughout these years. So basically, for example, if you have like the arrow trigger that was added in 2019, that means if RobTop would have started making Dash in 2016 or 17, he would have to completely change the gameplay according to the new features, which is why RobTop usually leaves the main levels to the very end, where he has all of the features, all the triggers, everything new, all the new gameplay mechanics, and then he would start making the new official level. And this is also another sign, the fact that RobTop is right now working on the new main level. Okay, this guy literally just right now. When is the next 2.2 video? It's right now, I'm recording. So if you go on to Rob, he recently said, like 3 days ago, he said that he's working on Dash, the new main level. And that goes to show that the update is, you know, has formed its shapes and all. And that now he is basically finishing the last touches. For example, you on this video. Okay, gives us something new because I didn't really spot anything weird about this video on my latest video, but we can see something really, really strange. Look at this. So the arrow trigger, how it works is basically if you touch this, the gravity is going to be flipped towards where this line is. So this line is on the right now. So the gravity would go to the right. You would fall on the right. And in here, it's also on the right. So nothing changes. This one, it's now on the left. Okay. And now he goes to this, which is on the right, but he falls to the left, which is, it should not be that way. This is on top. So it's flipped gravity basically. And now it brings him to the right. Okay. This is a weird bug. And not only that, I mean, when he made the arrow trigger, this issue should have already been found and fixed, but I can see why. I think this is rather related to the dash orb in platformer mode, because we can see he has placed a lot of dash orbs and has pointed them towards these arrow triggers because maybe he like experienced this bug in a platformer level of his, which is why he wanted to test. But yeah, seeing such a bug is not really good news about the release date and that it's gonna, you know, come out in the next few days. However, I can assume that this is not only, you know what? I think this issue first came in Dash. I think he was using a dash orb and like an arrow trigger at the end, but then he experienced this very weird thing and then he decided to make it a platformer level so he can like move around and test a bunch of stuff, which goes to show that he is still working on the main level. Like this is his main priority, but however, this was like a bug that he encountered, which is why he wanted to fix it first and then continue working on Dash before forgetting about it, for example, and releasing the update with this bug, which would be a disaster. Which is why I have been saying, you know, it's fine if we like wait a little bit, because the longer we wait, the more bugs like these ones are gonna be fixed, which I think is very good. Okay, people, why are people, I don't understand. Do they know that I'm in the chat, or I haven't said a single word. I'm recording for like 10 minutes now. How do you guys, beta branch has been updated? Yes, it's been updated. Wait, once more? Wait, one more time? No, okay, that was, okay, I thought that was updated one more time. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, some guys on Twitter have said that if the beta has been updated a lot of times after each other, that's good news that it's on the horizon, you know. But now, my conclusion, I'm just gonna bring you to my own conclusion regarding this beta branch update. I think if let's say, if in 7 days from now, this beta branch has not been updated, that's gonna mark the last week of 2.1, because there is not much time left. And the best thing RobTop could do is publish what he already has to the beta people so they can test what he has been working on. And in case they find more bugs, he's gonna have to update it again. However, if right now he updated it, and if we wait like a week and it has not been updated, that could be a good sign that they have not found anything new and everything is working as expected, which is great news. And seeing that, I mean, this is like the first time it's been updated maybe in like 22 days. So throughout these 22 days, probably no update, no serious bug has been found, which is why I think RobTop was testing this specific bug with other people, or maybe he was working on a lot of things at the same time, so like the beta testers can test all of these features at the same time. So yeah, like I said, if this doesn't get updated in the next 7 days, we can say that this is the mark for the last 7 days of 2.1. And Andy also said that he doesn't have any hope for November, honestly, because the triggers look unfinished. And I personally think they are very finished. Like, we have so many triggers that they all look decent. They all look very different from one another, and that's really what matters. I mean, as long as you can like differentiate them from one another and they have like these labels on them, I think it's pretty fine. Apparently he's still working on Dash. Yes, I think this is like the final thing that he's gonna do. Yeah, this is strange. He's fixing a bug that's in the arrow trigger, which has been added since 2019. This is strange, I'm not gonna lie. And some people are saying that he should just delay it to Christmas because that's when it should have come out in the first place. And it doesn't really matter if we have like these people don't like them. It's okay. We can. This is something that can be changed in an update, like a sprite, like how the trigger looks like. This can be changed very easily. However, a bug like this, if people make levels with this bug, it can no longer be fixed, which is why this is very important to fix. Yeah, and here's another thing that's interesting. If RobTop is working on Dash right now, this is not weird at all. We already know that RobTop makes the main levels at the very end, and that in 2.1, Geometry Dash World was completely finished, which is when he started working on Finger Dash. Yeah, the bug with the Dash Orb is still unexplainable why it happened, and it may actually have a very negative cause. However, I really hope he fixes that real quick. But yeah, let's now take a look at some of your guys' comments regarding what the new triggers are about, because some of them are really interesting and I had no clue how to analyze them. So let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, these guys are in a video. Okay, these guys are in a video. Hello. Okay, I think this is a brilliant explanation of what the instant collision does. As we know, I saw in my previous video, there is a collision and an instant collision. And basically what this is, wait, let me show you. So for example, here's a trigger that pulses the the background to black. So basically now if I touch this collision object, it pulses the background to black. You see, if I don't touch anything, nothing happens. If I touch it, the background pulses to black. And now the instant collision is basically, let's just assume this is the instant collision. This is the instant collision, and basically what it does is once you reach it, then it basically checks if you have touched this collision object before, and if you have, it would pulse the background to black. So as you can see, if I touch it, it pulses when you cross this line. This is basically what the instant collision is. And by the way, this collision and instant collision is basically exactly the same, such as the count and instant count. Instant count basically just once you reach it, it says if a number is equal, larger, or smaller than the number that you input. And this one is basically instant. I don't know why the names should be a little bit switched, but whatever. And also the amount of the new triggers is actually 106 or 108, somewhere between that. My math was completely wrong, but thanks to you guys fixed it. I multiplied 12 by 9, but I should have multiplied 12 by 3 because there are only 3 rows. What was I doing? This is also an interesting idea about the event time, which is this trigger, time for event. And this guy says that it basically can do some things just such as you can check if the player has spent 40 seconds in the level, and if so, activate group X. So that would be not how much time you have spent in an attempt, but basically in the whole level. However, I think this is rather doable with this trigger. You can compare if the time is equal to X, maybe, or the timer. You can see there's time, and timer, time. A lot of time right here. What even is this? It's even like out of the interface thingy, which is kind of weird, but I hope it's fixed. I think something like that could be done with this trigger, which is the item compare, which is this one, the yellow one. Oh, by the way, here's a better explanation of what the count and instant count is. If you want, just pause the video and you can read it. Oh my god, I think this is the perfect explanation of what the event trigger does. Either this event trigger or the event time, but I think the explanation is very nice. This is something that RobTop has already showcased in a previous video, where the trigger activates a group on a certain event happening. For example, if the player lands, activate group 16. This is a brilliant idea because let me just look up RobTop and we can take a look at something that he has said about it, because I do remember something like this actually. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, I found it. Yeah, look at this. This guy showcased a video of an animation in Polar Guys and it looks very complicated. This is made in 2.1. But RobTop came and said, looks great, must have been a pain to set up. And then Wiley said, are there any tools easier to use in 2.2 editor? And he said, could maybe connect triggers to on jump and on landing events, but probably a bit finicky. I think this is a perfect thing to say. I think this is like the perfect explanation of what this event is. It could basically like activate a smoke particles under the player. Every time you land, there's like this smoke particle. If you're like in an area where, you know, it's like a dusty area, and then you can make it every time you land, there's like this group X can activate. I think this is a very good idea. It could also work on, like, for example, if you jump, do this, or if you transition to a ship, do this. If you do X, do Y. I think this is like a very good explanation, actually. Nice one, haptic. And by the way, I saw a lot of people saying that the event trigger can do something like activate a certain group after 2 minutes, but this can already be done in 2.1 in the spawn trigger. You can set a trigger to spawn, for example, group 10, spawn after 10 minutes. Oh, this is, I think, seconds, so you have to convert that 600 or something. Activate it after 600 seconds. And yeah, this is doable in 2.1 and also in 2.2. People say that maybe the event time trigger can make you do something after the timer hits a certain time. However, this can already be done with the item compare, like I showed you guys previously. Here we have a bunch of explanations from Mr. Azilla. He said the time trigger will be just a basic timer that can be set up with numbers, which kind of makes sense, to be honest. You can like set up how much time you have before something happens. Maybe this is also independent on which attempt you are, so it basically just keeps going. The event will be like a toggle trigger for when the timer reaches a certain time. So like once the timer hits 0, the event trigger will toggle something to cause the player to die, as an example. That's also something that I could imagine. But maybe this is also doable with the item compare, which is why I'm not quite sure. Like, I think the item compare has a lot of things in it, which is why so many, we can't say that many triggers can do like something with the time, because you can already do a lot with the time and attempts in this trigger. And I think, yeah, I find it absolutely fascinating that we could, like, you know, come together as a community and solve what these triggers are, analyze how many triggers there are, and, you know, share thoughts, which I think is amazing. And yeah, I think this is it for this video. Let me know if you have any more thoughts about the triggers. I will, of course, read your guys' comments. You guys are amazing. And yeah, no new beta branches update for now. The last one was yesterday. And that's it for this video. Make sure to slap that like and also subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Stay hydrated, and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead